It's Jerusalem Day, and this is the scene outside the famous Damascus Gate, entrance to the Muslim quarter of the Old City. A well-known Jesus lookalike looks deeply disturbed. These are the faces of Israel's firebrand ultranationalists, young men stirred by a messianic zeal and now emboldened by election success. Religious ultranationalists now hold key cabinet posts in the new government. They revel in remembering this day as the date when Israel crushed its enemies and took full control over Jerusalem in the 1967 war. Many of these young men have been bussed in en masse from settlements across the West Bank. Their delirious chants are fused with biblical references. Settlers believe they have a divine right to the land in the West Bank and Jerusalem and see themselves as the flame holders of Israel's future. These nationalists are also religious fundamentalists.
Every single place, and every single land, every little spot, everything is the Jews. Not a single piece for other people, only for us. And we won't give anybody else, just for us. That's what we believe.
There's plenty of talk about revenge against the Palestinians. At times they appear like a sectarian football mob. Palestinian shopkeepers hurriedly shut their shops as the settlers move in. Confrontation is brewing. As the mood turns ugly, suddenly a Palestinian journalist is set upon. The Palestinians feel more and more powerless as the settlers, with burgeoning state support, move into the Israeli mainstream. They've always believed God was on their side. Now they had their strongest political backing yet in the form of the pro-settler Jewish Home Party, a key part of the new Israeli coalition government.
With the recent election of an extreme right-wing government with hardcore settler supporters at its core, these young settlers have been encouraged, even emboldened, and their voices are only going to grow louder.
If you're wondering how settlements begin, take a look at Amona. On the hilltop above the sprawling Ofra settlement, this began as a tiny outpost with a few caravans and shipping containers. I came across a shepherd. Turns out he was on vacation for the United States.
I'm staying there for another month and I'm going back to the US.
Oh, right. Where are you from?
I'm from Rockaway, New York.
Everywhere I went round here, I seemed to meet Americans. At the top of Amona, I was approached by a man from Los Angeles.
Is this live or is it just like...
Who now lives in a West Bank settlement. He had a bone to pick.
Why in the world do they call it the West Bank and not Judea and Samaria? Very simple. How would it sound to you to say, listen, Judea doesn't belong to the Jews? It just doesn't catch. It's the word game. It's called Judea. It was always called Judea. Samaria. Why is it called Samaria? I was just learning in the weekend with my children. It talks about the king of Israel who buys a city from a man named Shemer, the king of Israel named Omri.
The Californian then rolled off references from his holy book, which he said contains literal truth over their claims to the land around here.
It's here. We live the land, and we're going to continue living it. Have a good day.
The old Israeli pioneers, the kibbutzniks, were mostly secular socialists, but those who see themselves as the pioneers of a new Israel are settlers who are guided by religion. At the settlement near Hebron in the West Bank, a bat mitzvah, the coming-of-age ceremony for a young Jewish girl, is underway. This is land they believe was promised to them. To Palestinians, they're occupying invaders. Try explaining that to a little girl born and raised here.
This place here, it's a small motel.
Nearly all the adults I spoke to in Susia told me they're supporters of Jewish Home. One of them, Yehuda, had been at the Jerusalem Day March. he took me to meet one of the families in this growing settlement.
In
Susio especially, there's a very, very strong connection, both to the people and to the land, to our land in the settlement around here, and in general to the land of Israel.
As the right wing becomes more assertive, there's growing hostility with the Israeli secular left in places like Tel Aviv.
People from Tel Aviv don't know actually what's going on here, like in Susia or other places. What they know is what they hear in the press, and
Which is what?
which is wrong. I mean,
No, but what do they hear in the press?
there's settlers from Susia throw stones on Arabs. Susia people cut olive trees, but it's not true. I mean, sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. And they always show what the Israeli did and not what the Arabs did.
If you want to understand what the unstoppable growth of the settlements means for Palestinians, take a trip to Wadi Fukin. The Palestinian village is increasingly surrounded by the massive settler metropolis of Beitar Illit. The settler population has exploded, with 750,000 now living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. But these sprawling communities are widely considered illegal under international law. Here in Wadi Fukin, the Palestinians say they've only been left with 450 out of 3,000 acres of land. The town's mayor says they stand to lose more.
The White House is here. This is part of our land, and they continue building. They want to take all of our lands there, in this mountain, also on this mountain. They put more signs. The yellow one, this is state land for Israel, forbidden to use. They want to take all of this area.
Wadi Fukin has a reputation among Palestinians for its lush farmland and abundant produce. There's figs, olives, and plenty of green vegetables. They even produce honey here too. Their history and their livelihood are deeply entwined in this tranquil landscape. To their horror, though, they say they fear their prized produce is being ruined by sewage coming from the settlement above them.
When they flows the sewage to our lands, our products in the village is famous in Palestine. And when the people hear about this issue, they don't buy anything from Wadi Fukin. This is our life. Our income from this land.
For Palestinians, Jerusalem Day is a day of sorrow. All they can do is watch the jubilation of the religious ultranationalists. All Diplo talk of coexistence and two-state solutions seems to them like a bad joke. This latest election has confirmed how fundamentally the political landscape of Israel has changed. The settlers are on the march, and they insist they're going to change Israel's physical landscape forever.